All right, this is the 2023 Suzuki 800 DE, and I now am over 7,500 miles. And according to the owner's manual, it's time to replace the spark plugs. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how I changed out the spark plugs. And I wanna make sure you're clear. I didn't say I'm gonna show you how. I'm gonna show you how I'm doing it on my bike. If you're not comfortable with taking the plastics in the tank off and getting down into the engine to get to the coils and the spark plugs, I highly recommend you take your bike to the dealer. Let them do it, okay? I choose to do this. It's my bike. If I mess it up, I'll pay for the consequences. But don't do this based on what I'm doing. I want to make that clear, all right? First things first, because we're going to deal with some electrical, you got to disconnect the negative terminal on the battery. Make sure you do that. And as a matter of fact, what I do is I disconnect it and then I place a towel over the terminal so these don't inadvertently touch the negative post. First thing you got to do, remove the plastics, remove the tank. If you want to know how to do that, I've got a post on stromtrooper.com. I'll put a link in the description. Once the tank's off, you have to remove this bolt right here. I already got it mostly off. All right, and then this fastener. There's also one on the other side. Then you gotta undo all of these connectors so you can lift this out. Well, that's a fair bit of work. Some of these are stuck in there pretty good. You got to work on them. Others, you're going to want to take the fastener out of where it's housed. Eventually, you'll get enough space in there to get down to where the spark plugs are. A lot of work, man. And if you're not comfortable doing this type of stuff, I recommend you just take it to the dealer. Next is you got to disconnect that from that. So turn it a little bit, okay? Get a screwdriver down here. If you can see that. Screwdriver down there. Push down on that and slide it off. It's hard to do when I'm holding the phone. Once you got that off, don't start reefing on this thing and pulling straight up. It's screwed on. So counterclockwise to unscrew that from the top of the spark plug. And then there it goes. All right. And you get your wrench down in there, take out the old spark plug. The correct size is a 14 millimeter deep socket to get the spark plugs out. I got a long thread, so you got to unscrew them for a little bit there, but looking at the tip there, looks pretty good. This is the correct spark plug according to Suzuki. I called them directly. It's an NGK. It's LMARBI-9. Do not get the LMARBAI. That's not the right one. Get this one. Here's a little tip if you don't have a 14 millimeter spark plug socket. You want to have a little rubber washer down there to get the spark plug out once you've gotten it all loosened. So I just happen to have a small rubber washer. Just set it down into the throat there, make it square so you can get the top of the spark plug in there. And then when you loosen it all the way out, you can pull the spark plug out. And then this is the left side plug. Looks just as good. Again, 7,500 miles. It says change spark plugs at this interval. Now that you got the new spark plugs in and you got the coils screwed on and you got the connector connected to them, you want to put back all of these plugs. Each one is a different size, so it's not like you're going to screw or clip the wrong plug into the wrong receptor. But triple check to make sure that A, you've connected them all, and B, they're tight, okay? Last thing you want to do is get this thing back together, put the tank on, put the plastics on, go to start it up, and the thing's not going to work because you forgot to plug one in, or it's not tight or whatever. So just triple check. Before I go and put the tank back on and everything, I like to get in here, clean up a little bit. I like to put a little fluid film in places that might rust after a while. I just rode yesterday from way out in Ontario back to Michigan. It was a 350-mile ride, most of it in the rain. So I don't think it hurts to put a little lube on there to try and keep some of these things from rusting. And then also come over to your tank and clean up some of these spots that are hidden behind the plastics. You know, I mean, it's out here. You might as well get those spots that hardly get paid attention to. Get your tank back on there. Plug in the fuel pump, the vacuum hoses, and the supply line, the fuel supply line. Reconnect your battery and test it before you go and put all this stuff back together, only to find out that something's not right. So get it all together, connect the battery, turn it on. Make sure it's in neutral, of course. Fire away. There you go, man. That's how you change the spark plugs on a Suzuki 800DE. It's not easy, but it looks worse than it is. It's tight quarters in there. You know, you just take your time. Nobody showed me how to use it or do it. You can figure it out. If I can do it, you can do it. All right? By the way, since you disconnected the battery, you're going to have to go back into the menu and reset the time and the date and everything, because when you disconnect the battery, it goes to a default. So it says 1/1/2019. So you need to set the date, set the time, because your oil change intervals are based on date and miles. And if the date's not right here, you're not going to be able to set the right date for your next interval. All right? That's everything, man. Ride safe.